we might share some personal information. We'll pull up and stuff as far as your address goes or whatever, but we'll get into that. You have pretty.
Listen, if you want to know something cool, my address isn't actually on a
We might
map
share
yet.
some
So
personal
even if I do
information.
tell them my address, they can't find me.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's actually what led to making this your solar exploration and transition process more challenging than it is for most people. But we're live on YouTube. I'm Lester. This is my friend Houston. You want to tell them the story of how we met as we get into this? I know you have a busy life, but let's make this interesting for people if they want to watch it.
I don't know. Very simple how we met. I was just going through a rough time. And I had a friend who was like, hey, you need to come to this lead program that I'm a part of. And while he didn't take it as serious as I ended up taking it, but it pushed me and pulled me out of a slump and pushed me to learn more about myself in a very short period of time than I had my whole life. And I think that's why, like, you and Anthony, we could go forever without talking. But that's why you two are so important into who I've become today, is because, like, that was the eye-opening moments of, like, okay, what you want is achievable.
So what was it about being a part of the program, having Anthony as coach, that opened that up for you?
Just him continuously pushing me to do hard things, like things that I didn't want to do, things that were extremely difficult. Yeah, and then after a while, you just get used to it. Like you said, when you step outside of your comfort zone consistently, then your comfort zone gets a little bigger. And so once I did that, like, and I learned I could do that, then I could do it again, and then you do it again, and you just keep doing it until it becomes a very normal piece of your life.
And where's that led you
to? So that's led me to Texas, a state of which I have, like, no family in, and we have no ties to, because at the end of my life, the one thing I want to accomplish is to be building custom cars. What I've always wanted to do. I actually wanted to design cars, so I went to school for mechanical engineering. Turns out I can't do chemistry, so I scrapped that idea. And, like, come full circle, now it's like you can still build cars the way that you want them, but you can do it in a different way that doesn't require you to learn chemistry and calculus and all of that stuff. And so have you ever read the book, The Compound Effect?
to?
It's really interesting because it says if you can consistently make small changes in your life and form them into habits, that over time, it makes a massive change. And so that's why, like, okay, I started with a small amount and, like, one motorcycle. Now I've got a decent nest egg and I can do a couple motorcycles at a time. And now I'm getting ready to start the car lot, because then I want to start a garage to fix cars, and then I want to start building the custom cars. And, like, so it's just each little puzzle piece leads to the bigger picture.
Well, whenever things are going really well, everybody's receiving a lot of value from engaging in the experience, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're creating some kind of content which is outside of my comfort zone. I don't know how to create content. I just know how to have conversations with people and tell them the truth. So pimp yourself a little bit. Like, what, you just got your LLC today, and that's a big move. I once heard that if you leap, a net will appear.
Yeah.
And so you are officially a company, and the only way anybody would know that you're a company is your website's not up yet or any of that stuff. It's about to be, but you got an Instagram handle. So tell us about what this company is. You just told us kind of like the vision for the things you'd like to do, but what's it really about?
Yeah. So, honestly, I'm the same way as you, though. Like, I can't create content. I'm not a good content person. But I just kind of wanted to document everything I was doing. So, like, when I'm 60 and looking back, I can be like, oh my gosh, this is where it started. This was bike one. Like, this, it's amazing how this is what I have now, but it all started from this, like, small piece. And so that's really why I started the Instagram. And you can go back and read the very first post. I'm just like, this isn't really for anyone else but myself, which I think is one of the big pieces about me and who I've become, is, like, nobody is me and I'm nobody else. So like, I'm going to do exactly what I want to do, because when I'm in a coffin, laying there on my deathbed, the only person I can hold accountable for how my life turned out is me. And I got to tell you, I've worked in the corporate world for like 4 years now. And if I had to do this another 40 years, I'd be the most miserable, jaded human being. I hate it. I hate it. So I figured I'd rather spend every evening and weekend doing what I want to do so I can do it the rest of my life than selling meaningless software or anything else.
That's beautiful. So do you think you're alone, or do you think that most people kind of feel like I am incredibly busy, I'm doing something I kind of dislike, but I'm willing to do it because maybe someday it'll let me do it, and kudos to you for having the courage to put all your free time into actually doing what you really wanted to do. That's pretty rad. So do you think you're alone, or do you think everybody's pretty busy nowadays? Because your suggestion for the title of this video was.
Yeah, no, so I think everybody's busy. I mean, people have families. I think I'm alone in my chase for what I want to build, but I think if everybody knows that, I think a lot of people know their why, right? And when you know your why, it tells you why you're doing the things you're doing.
So what do you mean by your why, and the why you're doing the things you're doing? Like, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So like, why, well, let me answer this. Why do you love solar so much?
Because I love people, man. I want to live in a world that makes sense. And it really hurts my soul. Like, we've talked to like 500 people that we met through this cool fundraiser. Or at least we thought it was cool, and some people really like it. And we just had somebody in Michigan we met last fall decide to go solar today, and that's really cool. And my host dad, because we did that program, Houston and I both met through this program that he was talking about with LEAD. And that was part of this thing called Southwestern, where we went out to a different part of the country and sold books for the summertime, like 80 hours a week, just as this fun crucible test to learn how.
12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty intense program. And so thinking about that, you asked me why do I do this? I spent my whole life doing the best I could, the very best I could, to the point of almost killing myself physically and mentally and emotionally, trying to be useful for people, like trying to figure out how can I help you reach your goals. And I was blessed to have met so many. Like, look at you, you're starting a business, you're doing well in the world, you see things for what they are, and you're not afraid to tell the truth. I mean, even you alone is a blessing if you know that because of this crazy idea you come up with, you're able to make a positive difference in somebody's life. And so after Houston, thinking about it forever, I think you're right, everybody's busy. And so I was fortunate enough to have some time to kind of think through what those tens of thousands of people I was trying to help were telling me. And some of them said, you're not very good at helping, or I don't want your help, or you're a hindrance, and they didn't want to have anything to do with me. And I learned a lot from that, but I also learned that what they viewed as help was something that would create an opportunity for them to be able to do more of what they wanted to do, when they wanted to do it, how they wanted to do it, for as long as they wanted to do it, with the people they wanted to do it with. And then hopefully when it's over, to still be healthy, safe, and loved. Like, people were born to be curious. It's what we really want to do. And that's a very long, narcissistic, self-serving story to say that the reason that I do what I do is because I can't think of anything that we really like to do that doesn't require energy. Can you, like, would you mind looking around right now and just say, do you see anything around you that would be there if oil hadn't been burned or some electricity hadn't been used somewhere?
No, I'd be sitting with a candle. Listen, that's a funny story, because my first week in this house was that Texas snowstorm.
Yeah.
So the first week living in my house, I didn't get to live with electricity.
What was that like for you? Yeah, speak to that.
I gotta tell you that I think everybody should live 2 days without electricity, because it really brings you back to what's important. And like, I think it opens your eyes, right? Like, me and my girlfriend, it was just us two and the dog. And we just sat around the island drinking wine one night, just having a good time, like just us two, completely disconnected from everything around us. And it was a great time, and we had not had, after all the stress of moving and everything, it was a nice chance to reconnect and remember why we're in this journey together.
Wow, you are a positive dude. You took some lemons and turned it into lemonade.
Listen, that's what you have to do, though. If you go through life looking for everything that's bad in life, you'll find it, right? If you go through life looking for everything that's good in life, you'll also find it. I don't even know where I got it from, but like, dude, life, if you can find bad anywhere you look in life. Like, do you really want to live life that way? Probably not. But it goes back to your why. Like,
yeah. And so I want my friends to be able to do what they want to do, and they need energy to do it. And if you're exchanging part of your life for dollars to be able to access it, even if it doesn't even seem like much to you, because most people's electricity bill is it's on auto pay. And it's this one of their small bills. It doesn't cost nearly as much as buying a new motorcycle. It doesn't cost as much as sending your kids to camp. It doesn't cost as much as like taxes and stuff. It's not really something you notice, and you know it's something that you want to use because it's electricity. And so I wanted to help people, which is why we created the fundraiser thing. It's like all this money is going to be wasted spending it on advertising, or we can give it to people doing good things in the world. And then the solar part is so people can have the energy that we need to be able to have more fun with our friends or do what they want to do. It's just, so it's still the same thing I was working on for all the years of my life, where I was working with people directly and trying to help them reach their goals, Houston, but it's on a broader scale, and it's something that we need everybody to chip in for. It's not, if a few people have the internet's not that cool of a thing, but when everybody has it, it really matters.
mm-hmm.
When a few people have solar, it's not that big of a deal. It's kind of weird, kind of looks strange on your house, don't really know what's up. But when everybody has it, we have the energy we need to do what we want without asking anybody for permission, without having to worry about ice storms, without having to worry about pipelines getting hacked and all the wildness in the world, or needing to go fight
Listen, that's a whole separate, that is one of the wildest things I have ever heard. I feel like we could have, I know the conspiracies around it and whatnot and all of that good stuff, but I can't believe a pipeline got hacked. But then again, that goes to show, if something like that, okay, let's say the pipeline breaks in the middle of it and we can't figure out where the pipeline is broken, this whole country shuts down in a matter of days.
Yeah. And so I don't have anything to add to that other than to say that's what this whole mission we've been on is for. So when we're talking about adding as much value as possible to as many lives as possible, it sounds all, sounds like BS to most people. But if you had all the money in the world and you could solve one problem, and you ask yourself, which problem would you solve? We just thought it would be energy, because it touches everything else, right? Like everything in your room is there because of energy. We're having this conversation because of electricity.
Yeah, 100%.
And wouldn't it feel good to know that you contributed to making your country more secure, because there's energy that's produced from the sun that no amount of pipeline breaking is going to separate us from?
Well, the other thing that I like, right, and I'll be 100% transparent. I'm a dollars and cents kind of person, very coin operated, and that's
coin operated.
I mean, that's really what it is.
I just never heard that expression before. Thank you. I'm going to steal it. I think most of us are
welcome to steal it. But yeah, I'm coin operated. If I think I can make $1 doing it, it's worth my time to do it. But for me, it's okay, the next 70, or let's say I live to be 70, that's 50 years, 12 months, I pay $100 in electricity every month. Over 12 months, over 50 years, that's $60,000, assuming electricity stays the same price. So if you're telling me now I can set it up and pay it off over 20 years, and then I get the next 40 years free, that's $40,000 I'm going to put back in my pocket. And that's assuming electricity never goes up $1, which for the sake of easy math, I'm going to assume that, but we all know that that's not true at all.
Yeah. I mean, you don't rent your house, do you?
No, I own the house.
So how do you think it makes any sense to rent electricity, right?
Exactly. Plus, then someone else controlled. I like to have as few people in control of how my life goes as humanly possible. So if I can take that off the table, like while they probably are sitting at the end, way off in the corner, like that's fine. I'll take it off. Like no ice storm, no electricity shortage, no spike in prices. I exist on my own. Well, for
No,
some,
that's, yeah, man. And that's possible for everybody if everybody just does a little bitty thing called take just a little bit of time to actually get your question answered about solar. Because in Houston's case, I mean, dude, we found out essentially, like, I already know without looking at your situation that you don't even have to use your own money. It doesn't have to be an either or. Like, you can go solar for zero down, use somebody else's. You can buy it if you want to, and then you don't have an electric payment at all because you own the equipment that turns sunshine into electricity. Or you
yeah,
can finance it. Somebody else can pay for it, and then you use what used to be your electricity bill to make your solar payment.
which is exactly what we're going to do.
And then when you get your tax credit back, you can either apply it to the loan, or you can just invest your tax credit. And you're so good at making your money make money that instead of using your tax credit to give yourself a lower solar payment, it might make sense to use your tax credit to buy a bike and then get a 200% ROI because you made it awesome,
Yeah,
but
and
it's money.
that's exactly that's exactly how that's going to go. It's probably going to go straight into the business because I'd rather see my money make money than just disappear into a realm of debt or paying off debt. Money is so cheap right now that it is insane. Like the interest rates you can get on things, the interest rate that we were gracious enough to receive, I got to tell you, man, it would be silly to buy it outright right now.
Right. Especially when you could, again, you don't have to have extra money to go solar. You just use your money that you're wasting every month, paying rent to the utility to make your electricity for you because you can't make it yourself until you own some equipment that can, and it sounds like a big sales pitch, but can you see how it'd be challenging for me at times, like to communicate this information, which is valid, true, and real, and then have hundreds of people sit there like, I don't know if I want it. And I don't mean to say that in some derogatory way, like, but like it's brain freeze is what the noise was trying to be. Like, it's hard to believe that this is even true, and it can lead you to inaction. So the title of this video was like about having a busy life. Like, how do you prioritize solar, which is an obviously important thing for some of the reasons that we've talked about. Can you think of any other reasons, Houston, that somebody your generation or just in general, what's good about solar? Like, why is it something worth prioritizing other than the coin operated reasons of the 40 grand that you're going to save or whatever the number works out to be?
I don't really think that when you look at solar, right, and you start to learn about solar, there's no like, and the way that people have set up the ability to pay for solar, I think this is one of those things where like everybody's in life has been told if it's too good to be true, it probably is, right? But like, and that's why I think you sound salesy at times, is because you found something that is beneficial to the earth, beneficial to the owners, beneficial to the house. Like it benefits everybody involved, and it doesn't cost a lot or cost anything to get off the ground other than moving your electricity bill payment to the solar panel payment. And then I think that's the reason why you're like, oh, people on this call are like that. They're just hesitant about it because like everybody's waiting for the catch, and there really is not a catch. Like there's just not. The only catch is like, hey, there's solar panels on your roof. But nowadays you see someone with solar panels on their roof and you're like, that house is probably more expensive than the rest of them, solely because that house can now make its own power.
Right. Uh, you say this better than I can. I think I might be brain damaged. So yeah.
Listen, after all the stuff I've done in life, I might be brain damaged too.
I appreciate you saying the words for me because it's exactly how I feel. Thank you for hearing me. And I'm not frustrated or sad or disappointed. I'm just sort of confused. Like I can understand why me as a human has it was done a lot of crazy stuff. People might not like me, but I don't get why people wouldn't like solar energy. And I'm glad that you like me enough to give me a chance to have a conversation with you and talk about it. So you actually showed up. You raised $50 for what did we raise money for? What was your organization?
The Norma Ray Foundation.
Yeah, because you went to school at West Virginia. So what do they do, the Norma Ray Foundation?
It is a cancer research fund. Bob Huggins, the basketball coach, his mom passed away, and I forget what cancer it was. But it kind of affected him, and our whole time at West Virginia, like that. He played such a big role there, and like I had grown up a mountaineer. I'm from West Virginia. I went to West Virginia. Like it runs through my blood, and so I figured that would be a good foundation to donate to.
And so what did it take to earn the donation? Because we're on
what I just showed up to the meeting. I just came. What'd you say? Come smile, bring your smiling faces and be ready to learn, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, just showing up. And so when you're talking about all the things solar could be good for, another thing we thought it could be good for is supporting community organizations. But we're looking to work with organizations that really care, like people who have a lot of friends who are like, man, solar would be awesome, and here's something I really care about. And so it's cool that you really care about something, and would love to work with anybody that actually is an organization that's like, hey guys, it's time to learn about solar. Here's a tool we can use to do it together. And oh, by the way, just for showing up, we're going to earn a ton of money. We've raised like over $10,000 for a school down in Florida.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Yeah. That's huge.
It's really fun. They've been hi Sobe, y'all have been super fun. And hopefully some folks will go solar in there. And if they do, we'll earn enough money to keep doing the fundraiser. And if not, we'll have to figure out some way to spread the word about the sunshine. But you showed up to fundraiser. What'd you think about that experience?
It was interesting. I'm and this sounds really weird because in college I would have been like, if I have to interact during a call or in front of people, like I hated like getting up in front of the class. But I think keeping everyone involved really helps with the learning side of things, because it's not like you show up and it's you talking and there's a blackboard behind you that you're writing on. It's everybody's involved in their own learning, which is always important.
Yeah, man. And so then you learned some stuff and you thought solar sounded good. And now it's been a month and you've spent another month in electricity that you'll never get back because life is busy, right? And so let's talk about that. Like you said, you might be alone on your particular mission, but you're not alone and feeling like you're really busy with the life and everything that's going on. And we've been hanging out now for probably an hour, even though you've got a busy life. And other than checking a few texts, you've been here with me. You've been contributing the entire time. It's been a fun conversation. Thank you for having it with me, Houston.
Of course.
But an hour into it and you're not that busy. So I just wanted to point out that possibly, although you are busy, one thing that we all like doing, and it's worth our time to do when we're willing to acknowledge it, is connect with an old friend. Like to have a conversation about what's going on in the world, to have conversations with each other about things that matter, like each other's dreams and what they want to do. And then the bigger game that we're all playing together, which is we wouldn't be having this conversation without electricity, and we can get it from the sunshine. And that'd be really cool. That communities can work together to spread the word. That'd be really cool. And we can do it fast, but life gets busy. So even somebody like Houston, who knows me and trusts me and believes that I help make a positive difference in his life, who's showing up.
I tell you what, it's so you go through it, right? And my house isn't on Google Maps, so it makes getting the dimensions a little harder. And I took those pictures, and I know I needed to take like, I think 10 or 12 other pictures to get to you, right? And like, as a new homeowner, like as anybody else in their life, right? They put it on their list because it's important to them. But then like other stuff gets on that list. And then as time goes on, you remember the top 3 things, top 5 things that you put on the list yesterday or the day before that need to get taken care of. And slowly it gets filtered down to the bottom. And then you only think about it like once a week. Then you're like, oh, like I need to get this done. And then the weekend goes by and you're like, crap, I forgot to do it. Like I'll do it next weekend. And you just get so wrapped up in life that like it's definitely important to me. It's definitely something I want to put on the house, and I want it for us and for the future and for all the benefits. Yeah, man, life has a mind of its own. You can try to plan, but normally that's just I don't even know. It just life happens. Like it just goes by. I can't believe it's already been a month though.
That might be over exaggerating. We can look it up and see.
I think you're right though. It might be a little more.
And you're a friend, and I had some bandwidth because we're in between raising funds for schools and then doing some summer sports, but the summer's really light. There's not a lot of fundraisers in the summer. People are busy. This is the time that we use to connect with our friends, and maybe we'll have more conversations like this on YouTube and share it on Facebook but as a young person who's obviously entrepreneurial, successful, want to do it and do all this, what would you say that we could do to make it like even easier for folks? Because I think there's a lot of people in your situation. After they learn about it, they want to do it, but it seems like it's going to be hard. Your particular situation was difficult because your house wasn't on Google Maps. That makes it hard to build a system. But what else could be?
That's a beautiful question, right? And I work in sales, so like I understand that there has to be a balance between like, of course, you don't want to constantly reach out because then you never know someone where that line is between like staying on their radar and being an annoyance. And it's so vastly different for everyone that like the last thing you want to do is turn them off of solar, but like you also don't want them to like forget about it. But I think like the one thing that I really appreciate, and I don't know if it's because me and you are such good friends or like why, but when you reached out and you were like, hey, like I know this kind of fell through, but I want to get this back on your radar because I know it's important to both of us. That really meant a lot because it did fall off my radar. It is important to me. It is something I want to do. It just, like I told you, man, life got busy. And so I think, and I know you can't text every person that you hop on a call with, or your phone would just be filled with random numbers and a bunch of names. I don't know, like almost like set up like a 15-minute reminder on their calendar, or that is the $1 million question. I think if you figure that out, I would like to know the answer because it's so different for everyone. But I just appreciated the reminder.
Yeah, like it's important, but no matter how important something is, it's almost like the more important somebody thinks something is, the more annoying they are. Like, have I talked to you about my new opportunity yet? Let me tell you about selling you whatever it is. It's just annoying. Or if it's like, people like church is great. I love Jesus. Jesus is cool. But if somebody's bugging you all the time about going to church and they are sure that you need to, it's just not a cool experience. No. Like almost like the more important someone thinks it is, the more annoying it can become. But what's weird is when it's actually important. Like if we don't change the way we make our energy, it's not going to be a good situation for what's coming down the road, whether that means to you really huge energy prices that we have to pay, or if you believe that the way that we make electricity and putting carbon in the air is going to warm up the planet and screw everything up. In
today's day and age, I know that I am old enough to know absolutely nothing about how the world works. Like honestly, Lester, if I woke up tomorrow and they were like, energy's now $100 a gigawatt, or whatever a megawatt, whatever a house uses.
Right, like kilowatts.
Yeah, kilowatts. I would not bat an eye. I'd be like, yep, that sounds on par for how these past 5 years of my professional life have gone.
Isn't it amazing that a coin operated person doesn't even know what they spend per unit of the thing it takes to make their refrigerator cold, you know?
Because you know you need it. Like, it's one of those things. It's like, you know you need it, so like, and then you can only get it from one place, which is, I don't even know where we buy our electricity, so it's called the electricity store. Um, I mean, is it, I think I never realized that until you just said it, that we rely on something so much and we have no clue in what unit it's used, at what price we pay, or where we get it from. It just comes to the house and we pay the bill, and that is how that works.
How convenient. All you have to do is pay the bill for the rest of your life forever and turn a blind eye to any potential negative things that could be being created, because dude, it is a heck of a lot better than living in the 1800s.
That's for sure. I gotta be honest, I could not do candles. I fall asleep. I would have burnt down like 4 houses by now. My issue is I can sleep with the lights on, which is a horrible issue for everybody, even in today's day and age. But I would have left the candle burning. It would have fell over. Next thing I know, the log cabin is on fire. I would have just torched every house we lived in.
I would have to. I bet you were a pyro too when you were a kid. You look like,
oh yeah. Well, I grew up in West Virginia. Like, there's like 2 things to do. It's like shoot guns and burn stuff. Like, like, okay, we've shot everything. Now let's burn it.
Yeah, Houston was a mountaineer when we met. Like, so you mentioned that earlier.
I'm the only mountaineer that can't grow facial hair. So it's just like 3 weeks worth of just shag.
So what do you think? Because you're completely devoid of it, right? You're outside of it. It doesn't matter to you. It matters to you because it's you personally and you want to get it on the calendar. You want to get it done. But assume that you're just me and all you're trying to say is, dude, let's figure it out. Like, let's just get the real numbers and then you really decide. And I'll still be your friend if you continue to do this crazy thing, but it doesn't make what you're doing less crazy. And I still love you, but I can help you and we can do it and make it super easy. Like, how do you reach out to those people in a way that doesn't sound like that?
Yeah, I think like, and here's something that I just remembered. We were talking about this in the car. Like, I wish you could almost have one of the contractors just like, I could just, the next step after the call was to set an appointment with him and he would come out and take the necessary pictures. And like, not because I'm lazy or don't want to take the pictures, it's because he comes out, I'm committed to that appointment. He takes the pictures, brings it back to you guys. You're like, hey, this is what it's going to look like. I sign on the dotted line, and a month later, we've got panels or whatever that process is, or like whatever I need to do. But like, honestly, if you could send a contractor out to my house for me to meet with and like us to go through the basics or the starting process, like, I think that would raise the conversion rate a large amount if the next step after the first call and the plan, sending the plan over, was for a contractor to come out. And maybe it is, maybe that's what you guys do.
It is, but the cool part is the contractor doesn't have to come out. The contractor FaceTimes with you, but having an appointment on the calendar would be a good way to do that, right?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't need to physically be there, and we don't want to burn gas sending somebody out. But it sounds like what you're saying is hand holding you through the next step, because you are a unique case. And that because if your house had been on Google Maps, we wouldn't have even needed to send anybody out. But you just got all those pictures that normally you get after you sign up. Those pictures that are on your mind that you're worried about, that's not the step we're in. And I'm sorry for overwhelming you before we got the first thing done first. That's an error in process that I made.
Listen, I wouldn't call it overwhelming. I know it needed to get done. It just got, like I said, man, it just got deprioritized over time. And like, I won't listen. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Like, it was important to me, and then time went on, and I was like, okay, like I'll eventually get to it. And then it's very easy to see how like people start this process, and then 6 months later, they're like just stagnant at step 2 or step 3 or wherever the bottleneck is.
Well, we could turn this into a YouTube miniseries and see how quickly we could have your solar installed and turn it.
I would love, if you want to play that game, I'm completely down to play that game. Like, and I'll be fully, you hold me accountable, I'll hold you accountable. I would love to see how fast can you put solar panels on a house. Like, if we call today, day 1, I'm gonna write it on this sticky note, March 3rd, 5/13. This is actually, we'll make tomorrow day one, because today's basically a
Okay.
week from now.
So tomorrow's day one. So what I need to, so I, instead of telling you the whole game, I'm going to tell you a day at a time, and we're going to record every step just so people can see the entire process of going solar.
And then you know what you can do on that? You can make a calendar and be like, this is what you should expect in week 1. This is in week 2. Here's week 3. Here's week 4. We hit week 15. You have solar electricity.
You know what's amazing is that when people connect and just have time to shoot ideas around like this, I think it's going to be a fun idea. I had no idea this is how.
I'm so excited because like I'm a speed person and I'm a momentum. In life, you have momentum, and momentum is like just like karma. It's an uncontrollable, unseeable. It's a force that can't be felt or seen, right? But it's there, and like. Lester, I'm a firm believer that when you have momentum rolling in the right direction, like when you're in sales, with the motorcycles, with business, like once you start to get the wheels moving, you gotta put the pedal to the floor and just see how fast you can make that ball roll.
Yeah, man. So then let's talk about the steps then, and let's get some momentum. What I would tell a normal person who's not willing to play a game is it would take about 3 months.
Okay.
But here's the truth. The biggest holdup is the municipality stuff, and we take care of that for you. But before we even get on that stuff, the first thing we have to do is create a design for you that makes sense. So what we actually need to get this started, then we can hop back on for 5 minutes, 10 minutes tomorrow, just to show people, okay, here's the process. So day one, we'll call it making the actual decision and just the paperwork and all the stuff that it is. Like, here's your design. Do you want batteries? Do you not want batteries? This is how much it is. How do you want to pay for it? Go here, do it. And we can do that tomorrow night for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if it doesn't take long, but know that we're going to create something that adds value to the world just because people get to see it. Because the true answer to this is, if you wanted to do it super, super fast, you could do it yourself. But I know that is what you don't have time for. So let's go through like this is how we would do it if you're a normal human being who doesn't have time to learn how to install your own solar panels scenario. But with you, we don't know what your roof looks like. And that's what we really need, because my assumption is in the future, you probably like to have electric bikes, electric cars, a pool, like things that are going to eat more electricity. Like if you want to make as much electricity as you are legally allowed to do, not exactly as much as you need. Is that a correct assumption?
That's a very correct assumption. I want to sell back, or I want to bank as many credits as humanly possible in hopes that one day I can press the cash out button on the register, take my check, and walk away.
So what we'll do is create a design that uses the great and good surfaces and leaves off the worst surfaces in terms of putting solar there. And we'll actually create one that's a max design where it's absolutely everywhere. And then we'll put somewhere it makes the most sense. And we'll hop on tomorrow and figure out what makes sense. But do you have a copy of your blueprints?
That I do not know. I know we have a plot map.
Does it show the dimensions?
The nice thing is my builder is building a house right next door. So tomorrow morning I'll march out there in my sweatpants and slippers and be like, "Hey, come here. I'm gonna need that blueprint."
So can I count on you to do that? Is that we want to do this coaching game thing? And
yeah.
so
You hold me accountable. Let me ask you something.
Yeah, man.
How important is the blueprint, or is there a second way around it?
Second way around it would be taking pictures of the actual roof from every position and then labeling north, south, east, and west orientations.
Okay. Question with that. So my house faces 161 degrees south. Hold on. Because I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't think my builder has any sort of timeliness, or like, I think if I rely on him to give me the blueprints, we're already.
You're not willing to commit to something because you don't know if you can personally make it happen because the unreliability is somebody else. And that is awesome. Thank you for telling the truth.
Listen, when you have to rely on somebody else, here's one of the crazy things. When you first met me, everything was everybody else's fault. It was never my fault. Now everything is my fault, because if it's my fault, I can control it and I can change it. And that means next time it won't be my fault, or it won't happen. So that's why I don't trust my builder to have any sort of like speed in my request. So I need to get pictures and then mark the, like,
If you want to get it all the way exactly right, where we can actually get a contract signed tomorrow because it's right, blueprint if the builder shows up, easiest way. Next thing to do is like, let's get it right. Get a freaking it'll take you with your mechanical brain under 10 minutes. And again, the only reason we're doing this is because it's not on Google Maps. And so this is a complicated one, and we're still going to get it done faster than anybody's gotten a solar project done before, and show the world how possible it is.
What's the fastest you've ever put solar panels on someone's house?
When we were in California, it happened with this there was a person who paid cash, so there was no financing time, and they had this expedited thing they were doing when we worked with a company that we don't work with anymore. The fastest that we've put it on from the time somebody got their dollars in, we just had a guy in Wisconsin that from the time they said yes and actually got their dollars in, their inspection should have been passed today, and it's been under 2 months. But it's 100% about how long the permits take. And I bet that we could find a way, given that this is a fun game, and who knows, people might choose to support it on YouTube, be like, hey, let's see how fast we can get into it. When they watch us call the people that give the permits, and watch how infuriating it is to attempt to get these things done. And maybe we'll find out you don't need a permit, but we'll figure that out. We'll record it all as part of your journey. You don't have to be on for that part. And even if it's just like us on a hold for 30 minutes, so people can see what we do to make it possible.
Well, the nice thing is my borough or my county is somewhat small, so I assume, or the city I live in is very small. So it's just a little town. His name's Gerald. Got like 7,000 people. Beautiful. But hopefully they move pretty quick. Because the city office is right around the corner, and it also doubles as the police station and the economic building. So like, I can't imagine they're super busy.
Yep. And then it depends on the utility company coming out and put a new box on that will count how much you're selling back to them. And so that takes a little while. But these are all things you don't need to be bothered with. That you're busy. We'll do that for you, but we'll show people your journey as we go along, and we'll make this our YouTube series. If we never do another fundraiser again, we're going to show people how easy it is to go solar. And then
I'm going to document things from my end too. So like tomorrow, me taking pictures of the roof, I'll give a nice little like mini series of, and you need me to measure the,
yes.
Okay.
So there's three things we need: pictures, measurements, and orientation, like 169 degrees south or whatever it is. It's like north, south, east, west to the best of your ability. And if it's off by a few degrees, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. But if you're facing south, that's where we're going to start, is south. And then we'll look at the east and west and the other planes, but just measure the planes, because that'll tell us how many panels we can put up. And then we'll come back on, hop on, show you your options, pick from them, send a contract, and then you can document it from your end when you're like, okay, here's the contract, looking over it. Here's got something about Chuck Norris in it. Ha ha. And then we'll be like, okay, here's what comes next. Your next assignment is to take these pictures. Complete. Your next assignment is to get your financing done. They can do it in one day if you do it right. Complete. Okay, now that your financing is done, we've got the money to start this project with. We're going to find the best installer for you. How long is it going to take us to do that? What's their schedule like? Who do we want to work with? And then we're going to do that. Then we're going to get it on the calendar. Then we're going to do all the engineering, and we're going to order the panels, and we're either going to ship them to you or the installer, whatever uses the least amount of dirty electricity to ship it and makes the most sense it doesn't waste human labor doing redundant stuff. And that could be either one. And it's going to be really fun, because we can use the sunlight to make our electricity with, and it's something that you as a human being can do something about. And it's something like me and in the people that I'm on this mission with, it sounds like the most fun thing I've done in 6 years, to really to connect with a friend and see how quickly we can get it done if we just actually work on it. So tomorrow we need the pictures. And then after we get the pictures, we'll create the design, and then we can set a time after the design is done to get back on and chat. And that could be Friday or it could be Saturday. It really doesn't make that much of a difference, but probably the sooner the better, because you know what?
It might have to be early Saturday because I do have to go get a bike on Friday.
I can wake up really early on Saturday because you've got to do what's really important to you. So if it's something as important as getting a bike, because that's part of what you were born to do.
That is about the only thing that's going to take priority over this, and by a slim margin.
Well, let's do Saturday morning at about 10 o'clock Central Time, 11 o'clock Central Time. You go out. What's better for you?
Let's do, can we do, where, are you Central?
I'm Eastern, but you're Central.
Okay, then let's do 9:30 Central. So it's 10:30 your time.
Well, I'll send you, I'll set up the calendar and set you a reminder tonight. What do you, I bet, do you think we can do it in under 2 months? Like the equipment can be shipped in a week.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know. A wise man once told me to never set expectations.
Because unmet expectations create resentment.
Yeah, and you will try to change things to fit your expectations. Where if you just operate without expectations, you get to enjoy everything that you get to own the adventure.
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought I was going to call to you and get some roof adventures. And now all of a sudden we've created a YouTube
a mini series. Hey, listen, this could be a big thing. Like, this could be one of those things you document, and then like 3 years later, you look back on it and you're like, hey, when did that video get 1 million views? Or like, why? It's weird the things that people follow on social media, man.
Yeah, you never know. So yeah, feel free. I'll send you, like, are you following us on YouTube yet? You want to go find the YouTube link so that you can
I'll go. Yeah, hold on. I got another screen I can work with over here. What is this? Over?
It's like Ovenova fundraising and solar exploration experience or something. Ovenova fundraising is usually the easiest way to find it.
Oh my gosh. Here's a video of you from 512. There it is.
Yeah, this is like, I just got through doing this because, and that's why these questions are on my mind about what the hell makes it so hard to go solar. It doesn't make any sense. And so we can do something fun together. For all I know, I'll start selling weapons soon, right? I'd love to believe that people are going to wake up and we're going to do this together. We're actually going to save the world. But if we're not, I'll just go sell some weapons to help end it faster or something and see if the salespeople can sell enough solar to make a difference, you know?
That got dark quick. Jesus.
Well, I only do that with good friends. I'm a twisted soul, Houston. Like, I really love humans, but I also realize I just can't imagine anybody that's under 7 years old working in a coal mine that grows up on an iPhone. Like, we got to get this show on the road, you know. There's just things that got to be done.
I will say this, right? Kind of going back to the coal mine thing, like growing up in a place where like you either became a coal miner or a teacher, or like you're a coal miner and your wife's a teacher. Like, that's a very real reality where I'm from. And like, it is so wild where if you go one place in the United States, things are a certain way. And like, listen, if you tried to sell solar in West Virginia, you probably have next to no luck. But like down here in Texas, like there's a lot of solar, there's tons, it's just a completely different place, a completely different culture. And I don't think anybody down here would even consider going to a coal mine. Like, but where I'm from, like that is where you go after high school.
What's that like to grow up in a place like that?
I'm thankful because we moved away at a younger age, and that's why I'm so okay with moving. Like, I moved to Indiana, and then we moved to Pennsylvania, and then we moved to Ohio, and then my parents now live in Florida. Like, there are things you want in life, and there are not many people that are able to get those things in life by staying in the same place, doing the same thing. Like, you just have to decide what's important to you. It goes back to your why. Like, if you want to stay in the same place and you're okay with you're happy with the way your life is there because you're close to family, like that is not wrong. The ROI on life is happiness, not money. But money is kind of what allows you to do what you want in life. It's a very twisted circle.
Well, you know, actually, it's energy and technology that allow you to do what you do, because you're going to fly to Hawaii. That's a plane and jet fuel. But what does it take to access those things? the money.
Yeah.
So that's
The
why.
crazy thing, the funniest part about all this is like what this whole like economic crisis, whatever, just how life has been lately. Like money's not real. Money is just a agreed upon piece of paper that we both associate a relative value to, and decide that for so many pieces of this paper, I will give you X product. Like to be honest, like you could buy a motorcycle and eggs. You would just have to sell me a lot of eggs, or you would have to give me a lot of eggs per bite. But like,
and probably a plan for how to use them and an agreement to come use them in baking cakes or like if you.
I bet I could probably I could sell them to a Denny's in a heartbeat. I mean, you just have to give me enough eggs that Denny's would be willing to pay the desired price that I wanted for the motorcycle. But I'm cool with it. If you want to pay in eggs, I accept all payments. I'll take cows. I actually, you want to know something funny?
Yeah.
So me and my friend, he had an extra car. We went and sold it to a dealership the other day. He was friends with one of the kids. His father owned the dealership, but he was friends with one of the guys or his son who worked at the dealership. And after we sold the car, we went and grabbed lunch. And he said, I had to ask him because I want to get into the used car dealership. I was like, what's the weirdest thing you've taken on trade? He's like, yeah, I got 3 horses one time. And I was like, wait, you took horses on trade? He's like, I'll take anything on trade of value. Do not put it past me. I was like, I give you 3 horses for that truck. And he's like, okay, sounds like a deal.
Oh, you can do a lot of things with 3 horses. I mean, but yeah, money's an interesting construct that we live in. Whenever it doesn't take long to figure out that if the lights went out and didn't come back on, you'd much rather be a scraping by in this world than a billionaire in a world where there was no electricity, because it's a rough world, bro. It is a rough world.
It is. Dude, I lived a week without it. I gotta tell you, it was like I paid all this money for a house and it turned into a hut. I was just like, there's all these walls, no electricity. Like, I feel like I should be bringing mud in and patting it down.
The people from a few thousand years back would have been so proud to have that hut. It would have been like the best hut ever,
It would have. They would have been like, whoa, this is sweet.
Oh, the wind actually doesn't blow through like it does the twigs. I built my hut.
It's no chance of falling down.
That life was miserable, and in the last 100 years, life got real good compared.
But was it miserable, or was it just miserable to us because we don't have the modern luxuries that we have?
Like it could have been a lot more fulfilling in a sense for a higher number of people. I think that some really smart, really talented, could have done a whole lot to move the world forward. People, probably their potential got wasted in that world. But on a day-to-day, knowing that you have to go out and work in order to grow some food to feed your family is very direct correlation between effort and why your why, getting back to what you're about, your why is to feed my family. Yeah. So I've got to go to work today, and I own this land because I'm the one that makes the land capable of supporting humans through my effort and my connection with it, right? And so like it all.
I think what you just mentioned is like, okay, so we don't go out into a field today. We do different stuff, but it's the same reason as like 200 years ago. Like they wake up and went to work. Why? To feed their family, to provide a roof, and like to create a better life. We're the same people. We just have electricity now. So
if we went back and were born in that time, we'd speak just like them, and we get along, and we'd understand their traditions perfectly, and it would make sense for what they were doing at that time. But one thing that's pretty cool is that now we get to talk about like issues that have become issues because things have gotten so good. Like we're not talking about most of the things we're talking about is like, oh, we've made things so good that all these people want to come here. Like that's immigration. Like that's a problem of things being really good. It's like, oh, there's these very small populations of people within our society who don't feel heard, seen, loved, respected. But think about what a small minority usually this is. There's because things are good, because we believe they can be great. And I just think that a big, huge step to making that possible and we could talk about this over the course of the series, but think about how much better life is because we have gas and electricity. And then how much better could it be even if we didn't have to exchange any of our lives for the energy we use once we pay off our solar panels?
Well, here's the crazy thing to go along with what you're saying. Everybody wants free healthcare, right? They're like universal healthcare, and they think that's a basic human right, because to be healthy and happy, like, you're gonna need some healthcare. Your body needs some maintenance, right? Like, we want universal education, because to create a good life, you need to be well educated and know how to navigate through life. I'm so confused. Well, every human being, just like the healthcare and the college or the education, like, needs electricity. Every one of them. Why has this not been? No one's been like, we need universal electricity. Like, why are people paying for electricity? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that nobody has addressed that.
Well, that's what we're saying. And we're saying we want to show people how freaking easy it is. It really comes down to you. You might get to be the person who shows the world how simple it is to go solar. And we can show people the nonsense that's in the way. And we can do it transparently. And then people can know this is a possibility for me. Because
isn't it, I still, like, now that I've said it out loud, I still think it's crazy that the one thing that we do have the solution to make it universally possible for everybody to have free electricity, we've just dusted under the rug.
Right. Do you know when solar panels were invented?
What, weren't they invented in like the 50s?
1954 by freaking Bell Labs. The people that invented the telephones, which was a revolutionary invention. Be able to hear somebody's voice instantaneously from a long ways away. And they needed the lines to work out in places where the utility companies didn't want to put lines, but they needed the telephone lines to have electricity. So they came up with solar to solve the problem of how do we get things to work way out in the middle of nowhere. And I just think it's a really nice coincidence that a company that earned all of its money by giving us a better way to connect with each other, making telephones, also created another way to make it easier for us to connect with each other, which is not wasting our time making money for energy and worrying if we're going to run out. Like, think about like, just
someone walked into a boardroom with two life-changing technologies, and a group of probably 12 old men looked at the one and were like, we're going to go that direction. That's the one.
We just had so much momentum. I mean, by the middle of the century, when we could have done it, though, we were just hitting our groove. You know, it was like, cool. It's been 50 years after this misery of, because it was 1886 or something, 84, 86, when Edison started his first power plant. And so then we had a half a century. We're like, oh, everybody's starting to use this. This is really cool. We already know how to do it this way. Like, let's not get crazy. Let's not do this. Like, let's just keep the good thing going. Like, let's put these lines up. And next thing you know, we have no appreciation for the enormous amount of effort. You're thinking it's not easy to put a pole in the ground or to run wires that are heavy. Like, you gotta go. So
no. Come here. I want to tell you something.
Yeah, you get to be on it too.
Yeah. So me and Lester are going to play a game together, and we're going to see how fast we can put solar panels on the house. And we're going to hold each other accountable, and our goal is under 2 months.
And we're going to do it on YouTube. So
yes.
So our neighbor was like, how is your electric bill so expensive? Blah, blah, blah. So we got on this topic. He's like, our electric bill is $40. I'm like, how is your electric bill $40? Dude, this dude only uses 91 kilowatts a freaking month. We're at like 800.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Lester, let's cut that piece out. I'm just kidding.
No, that's great. Because the future, I believe, yes, let's use less now while it comes from a bad source. But long term, the game is not restriction. The game is so much that we can use whatever we want to desalinate water, to charge our electric motorcycles and our cars. Like, let's create more. And that's what we're going to do together. You want to be on a YouTube series with us? Because I'm going to post this on my Facebook and say, I had this crazy conversation with my friend Houston, and we're going to play a game together. And we're going to record the whole thing and show you how fast somebody can go solar if they're actually dedicated, even if they're in a suboptimal situation. So
yes.
So one question.
We've got the dog in here as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bro. But yeah, you're not gonna have any electricity bill anymore. And I'm sorry that you had to pay that one. I should have cut you. What's the dog's name?
His name is Diesel.
Perfect.
Isn't that funny?
A fossil fuel dog. So, and would you introduce your wife or have her introduce herself?
Yes, would you like to introduce yourself?
Me?
Yes.
Hi, Ange.
What'd you say your name was?
Where is your mic at?
Oh, it's through the computer, but this is as loud as it gets. I don't know. So you gotta listen. But this is Ange.
I feel like
Yeah, I did. I knew your name. I just wanted you to say it for everybody else, and it broke up a little bit.
Oh, we're on YouTube. by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Ange.
I
So-
was like so confused. I'm like, what is going on?
So you have been invited by an old friend who started a company to help people go solar, to play a game, to show the world step by step how quick and simple it can be for you. Like you can just like, I haven't done anything today. And then we can post, well, here's us calling the utility company. Here's us entering this in. And we can just have, what do you want to call it? You want to call it the Brautigan solar journey, or how fast is it?
I don't know. I
Call
feel
it
like
whatever you want.
The need for speed to go solar?
I don't even know, like, I almost feel like this thing should organically name itself. I don't know if like there's like we could call what, like the speed of light? And I feel like that's way too confusing because everyone's gonna look at that and be like, it's definitely not 1.2 months.
How about the speed to use light? Oh, you got a baby. Go take care of that baby, or else the world's going to be screwed up.
I've been playing with him for the last 2 hours.
This is his squeaky toy.
Oh, you're a hero. Thank you for we didn't mean to get into this. It was supposed to be a 5-minute conversation. It just kind of happened.
That's okay.
You know, Anthony's already gone solar, right? So you got to keep up with your student manager anyway.
You know, I'm not actually surprised that he's gone solar. It probably was like the first thing that he did.
So we're all going to talk about like the cost of winter money.
No, okay, so you were on the call last time that we already talked about all that. But basically, instead of us paying our electric bill, we're just pay for the solar panels, and the solar panels will pay our electric bill. So it's a very
The solar panels are $100.
it's basically going to be about what we pay a month in electricity. We're just going to pay it in solar. Like we're just going to pay towards the solar panel. Okay, so right now we pay the electric company like let's say $100 a month, right?
How much was it last month?
We are going. What did you say?
How much was it last month? You got to go.
140.
140. Okay, so we need to be able to make $140 worth of electricity. But what we really want to do, because if April was 140, we want to make a little bit more than that in April, so that we can use it in December and use the credits, so you don't have to pay in December, right? We want to make enough to have what you need.
We range from like 120 to 140.
Yeah. So
we'll call it 130 when we make the design. Would that be a fair thing to say? Okay. We'll say it's $130, since y'all are kind of new to the house and don't have a lot of usage yet.
We've only got like 3 months worth of data.
Well, so I think,
and one of them was that freeze month, so like our electricity bill was all over the place.
I think this month's a good representation because we have been actually cooking dinner, which our stove and everything is electric. So I think this is like the first month that we really are going to get a good handle on what it will be. So.
Cool. Well, as soon as I get those pictures, we'll put the panels up in the places that will make the most electricity. The only thing you need to figure out is, do you want to make the most, if you're coin operated, there's 2 ways to look at this. And this is the only choice to make tomorrow before we figure out the contract. We'll get the rest of it done for you. I'll have both set up. It's like, do you think that it makes sense to create as much electricity as possible using your roof, because you see a future where you use a lot more electricity because you have electric cars and you like to keep the air down lower if you could and it didn't cost anything, like, and you want to maximize the electricity you can make per panel, because long term you might end up using more of your roof space for panels, and therefore, and so you get these panels that guaranteed to make 92% as much of the electricity at the end of 25 years as they did the day they were born? Because you're looking long term, or are you like, nah, I just want to make the most electricity per dollars? So like, how much is this thing guaranteed to make electricity wise? And then how much do I have to pay to make that? Do you have a preference between those two things?
I feel like the first one's almost more suitable because I have a feeling that our summers are really hot here, which we never experienced. We're gonna be dying. Our dog cannot be hot. And Houston likes to leave on all the lights.
Yeah, your air conditioning's super. All right, cool. So we'll throw some premium panels on there. We'll use some REC Alpha Blacks.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. And if it's not what you want to do, it's only a few $1,000s more, and you can see the difference. Like we'll do it tomorrow. But again, Ange, we're not using your money. We're going to use the money from a credit union, and they're going to pay to put these on your roof. And then you're going to use your electricity bill to pay back the credit union, and it's going to increase the value of your home. You're going to have energy security. Last thing to think about is battery situation. So we'll have to know who's your utility company. That's an important thing I didn't ask.
Quad disposal like trash.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the trash company. We'll have to.
What's my water bill say?
It's not going to be on the water bill.
Yeah, okay.
No, it'll be on the electric bill.
Oh, on electric, it's Chariot Energy.
Chariot Energy.
Clarion?
Chariot.
Oh, I think Chariot already has a pretty good program set up for solar. So this might actually work a lot faster than it normally does.
I like that. That's music to my ears.
Chariot's pretty good. I like their system. I don't even know where the camera is. Like,
yeah, like an
their
app.
Everything is like so nice.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, they like tell you detail to detail. I appreciate that.
Yeah, good for them. And I'm pretty sure they've got a decent solar option. And if they don't, I know that you can transfer really easily so that you can get a really good credit. So it sounds like you don't necessarily need a battery, but they're really cool to have.
And I was going to say, depending on how much of that adds to the end quote, I would like to have a battery.
Well, let's hop on Saturday at 9:30 with the information that we'll create for you.
Gotcha.
And go over your proposal in detail and then see how fast we can do this. We'll play the game. So day one begins tomorrow. And if you can document it too, like here's me taking the roof measurements, you don't have to do this if your house isn't on Google Maps or your house is on Google Maps. But this is gonna be really fun, Houston. This is a great birthday present for me. My birthay's on June 6th.
Listen, mine's June 21st. So if we come in under that, if we come in under that 2-month mark, we might be just a little.
Why don't we kick a field goal between those two dates? The 6th. Day did you say you're the 20th?
21st. It is,
21st.
By the way, longest summer solstice, longest day of the year, which honestly, now that I have solar panels, would be a very lucrative birthday.
Yes, it would be the sun will pay you more for being alive on your birthday than any other body that doesn't use solar, not on your birthday. That is great. Yeah, so it's all working out. I believe the universe sends signs like that, and you're one of the first people that benefited from that lead thing that I was just like, why don't we just go help people? And if you want to know the truth, this thing that I'm doing now is just an extension of that thing we started in 2012. Like, let's go help each other create a world that makes sense.
I agree. I don't know if you remember this. Me and Jayana and Gary met you at a restaurant in Nashville on the last week of our lead program. Or not lead program, but lead internship. And you were like very excited about this solar opportunity that you were, I guess, starting into, and you saw the vision, but of course we didn't at the time. And it's because we're not you, and this is what you love, and this is your why. But it's amazing that now it's come so full circle that 8 years later, I now own a house in Texas, a place that when you were starting this idea, I was just leaving, praying that one day I can get back. And now we're going to figure out how fast in Houston and Leicester put solar panels on a house.
Yeah, and it's going to be the most fun thing we can do. And we're, and Ange.
And Ange, yes.
because she's going to come in, and John, John will help us do some stuff, and we'll create some great content. So if this is if the entire process was just to create these videos so people can see that it's easy, then I'll have said what I have to say, and people can go solar however the heck they want to. Maybe I'll just shut down the entire business. But if people see that it's easy, then might as well do it with us. Why not? We can get it done.
Yeah. I mean, document the process, and someone's like, I want to know more about what it really takes to go solar. You can just be like, okay, well, here's a little docu-series of like 10, 20-minute videos of this person goes solar in a month and a half, and this is every step that they went through.
That's great, brother. So after a mere 2 hours or hour and 20 minutes, and baby's crying and wives coming in, I'll talk to you at 9:30 on Saturday morning. Houston, what I'm counting on from you is to send me dimensions, and we're going to use 130 as the average bill with Chariot, and we're going to create enough solar to replace that, and then we're going to create a battery option that we can talk about. So y'all talk amongst yourselves. So the difference would be like paying about the same as you're paying now, almost exactly the same or even less, using somebody else's money without a battery, to maybe paying $20 or $30 more with the battery. So you guys get to decide how you want to do it. But I'm excited. This is going to be fun. I've always wanted to do something on YouTube, but I haven't ever thought about anything that would be actually so much fun to do that it would be worth doing. But let's do it. It'll take a little bit.
When we got on this call, I had no idea that I was going to commit to something I know very little about, which is putting solar panels on a house. So
we've done that this whole ride though. That might as well let people know.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, this has been like 2021 has been the year of like owning the adventure. Like just a lot of things we know absolutely nothing about, and every day we just take one little step forward.
Well, let's start out on Saturday with you showing everybody your bike that you buy on Friday night, and walking us through what you're going to do with that bike, because this is not just about the world and solar and helping out an old pal or any of that crap. This is also about you and what you're doing, because if a lot of people see it, they might as well know, hey, with the money you save on your electric bill, get a bike.
Listen, I can do that, but Lester, I literally just wash them and take better pictures, and then I'm like, here it is, like, and that's really all I do. And people,
I know you're very humble, even if it's true. But just, yeah, people like to see what you're up to. People like successful people, not like, look at me and my Benz, because Benz is a bad example, like my Ferrari or whatever that I don't actually own. But people like young people who are doing well, because that's the age of your life that you're in. You've got energy, you just made a baby. And if you don't have the courage to do what you want to do now, when are you ever going to do it? You've got a supportive spouse that lets you play. Like, she's counting on you going all the way. So maybe we'll just create some YouTube content.
And listen, I guess I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I've never really thought about how. So I guess if we're going to do this together, it's a sign for me to get a channel started as well.
Get it started, and we can do it. We can simulcast at 9:30.
Vlog our solar panel journey. Vlog. Okay, we can vlog our solar panel
like
journey.
My couple.
Oh,
I love them. I watch all of these vloggers on Facebook.
Well, we should have started a vlog like 2 months ago, to be honest with you, because
I know, about your bikes. That would have been so convenient.
Yes, but we're here now, so there's no better.
Do it. Let's do it. Y'all think up the name and I'll go with it. I'll name it whatever y'all name it, and we'll see how fast we can do it. And I haven't been more excited about very many things than I am about this, because we get to show the world. I'm going to put it on Facebook. Our friends are going to see it. And I bet there's a lot of people that we're going to, you get to be a leader for your generation and show them, look, we can do this. But tomorrow send me those pictures. That's what I'm counting on. And then Saturday morning, we're going to make a decision about which design you want and whether or not you want to use batteries. And we can make that, then we'll get the contract done. And then on Monday morning, we'll start working on all the things to see how fast we can do it.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm hoping, my goal, June 30th, because I think if we can get it done before the 4th of July, we'll all be very happy campers, because I feel like that's one of those momentum things. Like that, honestly, that's a momentum stopper, because isn't the 4th of July on a Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, or the 4th of July is on a Sunday, so you get that Monday off. So that's like it's a whole 3-day weekend that's just gonna plop right down in the middle of what we're trying to do. So
Yeah, I mean, I might even be able to talk some guys into flying down, like just people that I love. Like, if you want to, we can show the fastest way to circumvent is to say that it's an installer, like you're doing the installation, but then having competent people actually do the installation.
and me just walking around with the tool belt.
Right. Or just saying, yes, I was the overseer, I was the supervisor. And we can find it might be enough fun if we have enough folks that want to watch and join in and enjoy the process. Maybe we'll fly John Kerry down so he can do it to show what an amazing project management company. John made Ovanova possible with all his work, but his major contribution moving forward is probably going to be in project management. This is like getting things done as well as we can with people who are actually motivated to do what it takes to get it done. So let's meet Saturday morning, 9:30.
Saturday morning, 9:30 Central Time, and you will have a signed document in your hand by the end of that call.
That sounds great. And we'll go from there. Proud of you, Houston. Talk to you soon.
Awesome. Excited, Lester.
Get that vlog and YouTube started before we get started. We're going to have a
I will. That'll be tomorrow's goal.
Cool. I'll see you soon.
All right.
Thank you, brother.
Bye.